So what we wanted is down on the.
Yeah, it's
the
really,
newest part.
it's really hit
It's
my
the
family
smallest
pretty
lot,
hard, because you
biggest
know,
house.
Margaret,
There's
Bill's
nobody still
mom,
that's not moved
they all
in
went to
that
school
house.
together.
O'clock. I'd like to call the Newberry County Council to order for county work session. First item on the agenda is discussion of ordinance 08022026, amending the text of Newberry County Code of Ordinances relating to single site burials.
Okay, the corner,
Do I need to call her?
see where she's at. She was supposed, Katie Wirtz is on vacation this week, but
Correct.
Katie Wirtz, the corner, and myself sat down. We basically had a situation come up to where there was someone that passed away, and the family, the gentleman had built his own pine box over the years and said he wanted to be buried on the family property in that box. And after his death, which hospice was able to sign off on the death, but we were not made aware of it, and there was really no knowledge. They just went out there and had the burial on the property. Well, that just got us thinking that we need to establish some minimum standards and things that need to be put into place. And so I was going to we were going to run through that. Let me get that pulled up.
If you want to wait for Ms. Neese, we can just skip that one for now.
Come back to that one.
You
Come
want
back to it.
to, well,
She thought she had to be here at the 6th one, but she said she can be here in 10 minutes.
okay,
We-
well, let's skip forward then.
We'll skip item number 2 and come back to it if there's no objection.
All right. So for item number 3, discussion regarding 26-27 equipment lease purchase ordinance and resolution. You should have a resolution that will require a vote at the 6 o'clock meeting. And basically, and you'll have first reading of an ordinance to move forward with a lease purchase for this year, which is for a fire truck, 2 new ambulances, a dump truck, another trailer that needs to be replaced at Public Works, as well as a patching machine. And so it's about $2.4 million equipment lease purchase. With first reading of ordinance, we'll still have to have 2 readings following that. What the resolution will do is authorize us to go ahead and issue POs so that we can start ordering the fire truck that takes up to a year to be assembled. The 2 new ambulances, the dump truck, we can start ordering and paying for this equipment, and then we will reimburse ourselves with the funds from the lease purchase after the fact. This just allows us to get started due to the amount of time that it takes for a lot of this equipment to be made and delivered. So you'll be asked to vote on the resolution tonight and first reading of the lease purchase ordinance.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. Any questions on item 3?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. I'm so sorry I had to go to Chesterfield. Actually, I got turned around, so I'm on my way back.
All
I hope
right.
I make it by 6 o'clock, but I don't know. So,
Don't get a
Chesterfield
ticket.
No, don't want to get a ticket, and Chesterfield and Newberry is not an easy route. So
That's right.
I do have a question. I get hit a lot with the idea that we're over purchasing on some things, and fire trucks and ambulances is one of them. I don't believe that. I'm just saying I get hit with that.
Right.
And so can you elaborate on that a little bit, please, Mr. County Administrator?
Sure. I think it would certainly be a lot more strenuous on our budget if we were just outright purchasing this equipment and just paying for it. What the equipment lease purchase allows us to do is, it's a 5-year lease purchase. It just allows us to make smaller payments for this equipment that does fit within our budget and does not put a strain on our budget over a 5-year time period. At this point, we have a number of lease purchases, and basically where we're at is, as one expires, we start a new one. So every year we should be starting a new lease purchase and buying a bulk of the equipment on that, keeping that cost lower and keeping the demand for straight cash and higher cash amounts from coming out of the general ordinary budget.
And isn't it fact of the matter, a lot of our equipment is outdated and is in need of, we fell behind.
Absolutely.
We have to catch up with the replacement of what we
Especially
got.
fire apparatus and law enforcement, which I know we've put a significant amount to replace 6 vehicles every year in the sheriff's department, and we're back to that and intend to keep that in the budget. But we are in a big hole with regards to fire apparatus. We were in a big hole with ambulances, but we have caught that up. But we just need to keep that trend continuing.
It'll be years till we actually catch up where we need to be with the fire trucks due to the fact of what they cost.
I don't think we will catch up. I concur, and I hope that nothing I just asked sounded like I wasn't in agreement. Sometimes you just want to address concerns. Nobody's a stronger advocate of public safety than me, but sometimes people say things, and so it's just good to address them so that you know that you've been heard. And so that was the only reason for my question. Absolutely,
we're replacing outdated equipment, trying to catch up, which it'll be years before we catch up.
Absolutely,
there's a lot of equipment that's out of date and needs replacing. So that's why we're doing what we're doing and doing the best we can.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Apparently, you've heard the same concerns I have. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Anything else?
All right.
Hearing none, we'll move to item 4.
The next item is discussion regarding bids for the CPST Newberry Amphitheater project. We did open bids. Now, we bid it with 2 alternate bids as well. And Solid Structures came back with the low bid amount for the base bid was $4,069,180. For alternate 1, it was $231,000, which was for a bar, kitchen area, storage room work in the back of the Jacobs building. And then alternate 2 was related to a green room structure on the back of the amphitheater stage. After sitting down, we did sit down with the city because this has been a joint venture with them. We all agreed that we could hold off on alternate 2 for now. We've got a bond amount established for this project for $4,802,709. If you add alternate 1 and the base bid together, it comes out to $4,300,180. But it looks like you've got about a $500,000 gap there, but we've had engineering and design costs that have incurred throughout this process. And so we did meet with Theo DeBose, our bond attorney. We also, Karen, Debbie, myself, and Scott, and everybody involved, Crystal, we sat down and had a conversation. We wanted to ensure that there would be sufficient CPST funds available to do this, and that the county wouldn't need to look at, fronting any money for this project. After the evaluations, everyone felt comfortable that there's enough CPST funds to move forward with the base bid and alternate bid number 1.
Just alternate bid number 1.
Correct, not alternate bid number 2. And we also included Ann Smith into the equation as well with the conversation. The reality is she would really be the one programming most of the stuff that occurs on the amphitheater stage as well as the Jacobs building. And basically her statement is that the green room is not nearly as important as having bar, kitchen, and storage room work in the Jacobs building. That having food opportunity for her events it makes a big difference.
All right. Any questions on the amphitheater project? CPST money will cover it with the project and alternate 1.
That guy's going to show up, right? So first question, is that the lowest bid?
It is.
Okay. Second question is, did we make arrangements that the alternate 2 is considered in the construction so that if we decide to do that later, we could?
Well, we would have to basically rebid that if we have remaining funds or overages, and if we decided we wanted to move forward with that green room at the end, due to the bid expiring and running out on that one, it probably would have to be rebid at a later date. But yes, if we've got remaining excess funds, we could, if council voted to, come back to do the green room.
I think maybe I didn't communicate my question very well. The question is, like, if there needs to be a platform for that while they're pouring concrete, is that area covered so that if we have to come back, we don't have to start pouring concrete and all that kind of stuff?
Right, and that discussion was had, and what the city and us agreed to do, because the bid is bid at this point, we need to get this awarded due to the amount of time that we have to let them know before the bid expires or the prices expire. We needed to move forward, but what we thought we would do is once this project gets underway and they start to get to the amphitheater stage, we would engage the contractor at that time to see what it would cost to do the additional concrete work on the back, get that amount, look at where we are financially with the project, and if we can come back at that time and do it, we would do it.
Okay.
But there just wasn't going to be sufficient time to have that conversation before we had to award it tonight.
Appreciate that, and I'm willing to move forward with it. I've just learned the hard way, unfortunately, in my years in government, that if you start adding once the contract awarded, it costs you a lot more than when you bid it. So that's why I was asking the question.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to look at unit pricing that they're charging to do what they're doing, and if they're trying to get way more than the unit prices that they bid on now, that wouldn't make sense, and I'd be willing to inquire as to why they're upcharging so much more than what they're doing the concrete that is going to be done.
And if it was a lot more, we could just not do it and
Right,
put it up for bids after the completion.
Correct. I mean, obviously, we'd love to do alternate two. It's just we all have a concern about the financial by adding that project on.
Get as much done as we can for what we got and move forward.
Yep, that sounds good. I just always like to add that you want to put as much provision in there if you want to come back and do something later as you can now, because it's a lot cheaper now.
I agree. Totally agree. Any other questions on?
So our recommendation is that council approve solid structures, the base bid and alternate one.
Base bid and alternate one. All right. Everybody good? All right. Item 5.
Item 5 is recommendation for an appointment of the Upper Savannah Workforce Development Board. They reached out and basically stated that they would like to have Ms. Jessie Long be appointed to the Upper Savannah Workforce Development Board. She has completed the application and submitted it, but prior to that, they want an appointment by council to be made, which needs to be done. And so we're going to be asking you at 6 o'clock to appoint Ms. Jessie Long to the Upper Savannah Workforce Development Board.
We'll think on that a little bit.
And the reason why, because we're in the Central Midlands Council of Government for everything else, except workforce is in Upper, so we have no one attending those meetings. And we go to the other meetings and attend them, so we wanted to have somebody else, you know, looking out for our workforce development.
Yeah.
Correct.
Any questions on that? All right. Mr. Johnson, you good with that one?
I can tackle the single site burial.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not going to be that guy on this one, I promise.
Okay. All right. I just make sure they hadn't lost you. All right. Well, we're going to circle back to item 2 and let Mr. Luckadoo go over the I guess you would say the burial ordinance.
Correct.
Item 2
So
on the
I had started explaining the situation that got us to where we were. So the corner, Katie Wirtz and myself sat down and it was like, we don't want to prevent single site burial from people having the ability to do that if they want to be buried on their family land. Our zoning ordinance already said, our ordinance had already established anything more than one burial site constitutes a cemetery, and it has its own set of regulations. So we are really dealing with one burial site on family land or property. And so we sat down and discussed what are really those minimum things that we need. We don't want to be overly restrictive, but there are certain things that we need to know if you're going to do this. And so what we've established is that we need, and the ordinance you have, what it establishes is we need a completed and signed medical certification of death that is certified by an attending physician or the Newberry County coroner, as authorized under South Carolina state law, that must be presented to us, and the manner of death, which is important to have, because if you go bury and there's not a manner of death, well, were there other causes that should be investigated? And so the manner of death must be included on that. And I'm going to let our coroner, Ms. Laura Neese,
Don't
take
sit
it
down.
over.
Don't sit down.
I've explained backstory
We're
on
ad-libbing.
how we got to where we are.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And basically, I've gotten to item A, number 1,
Okay, certificates
Yeah.
and permits required?
and I just explained that one, so if you want to pick up from there, or
Hello.
if there's anything you
Part of
want
my
to add.
tardiness,
That's
so I was supposed to
okay.
be here at 6, not 5.
That's okay.
So our office or the certifying physician would certify the cause of death. And that would have to definitely be going through vital records. So the standard practice of what we do every time we certify a death. I guess what we're just wanting is to have an ordinance put into place where we know if someone decides to place their loved one on their property, we can know where that's at.
Right.
I had one not too long ago. People moved from out of town. They found a unmarked grave burial site on their property, dated back to like the 1800s. However, as the county, we don't have that on record, so I suggested that she call Ms. Wirtz and have that put on record.
Absolutely.
So no cost to the taxpayers, just so we know where the
Little paperwork.
decedents are. Yeah.
Does that include all burial grounds, or?
It would not include like cemeteries and that time. This is just on your property. One person, if there becomes two, then it becomes more of a cemetery type plot, which is a different avenue that needs to be taken at the time.
But it's a certain way that they need to be buried, certain setbacks and all that as well. in the
I know that
ordinance.
we had talked about doing the setbacks of minimum a wood casket, cardboard container, or cloth shroud.
Yeah.
The dimensions shall confirm 6 feet of soil to cover the top of the casket, and adhere to the zoning setbacks, whether we were saying at least 100 feet away from any well, stream, pond, or other water sources.
So we made it as simple as possible.
Well, and
still be allowable.
to touch on one of her points, what this ordinance does is it does require a survey and deed. And the importance of that is when the survey's done, they can denote where that gravesite is on that property. It would get filed with the Register of Deeds office. That way, if that property is sold in the future and somebody decides they want to put a swimming pool in or dig up a portion of their property for a certain reason, build a shed, they don't get surprised.
It'll be on the plat with
Yes,
the property.
correct.
And it would be recorded.
So
and
we're
that-
not digging up Aunt Mary
Correct.
later on.
And there has been times I can contest personally that when Lexington County started having a lot of residential development, our contractors were developing and they unearthed a whole entire Civil War gravesite. And that, of course, that stopped construction because archaeologists had to come in and hold the whole survey and everything had to be unearthed and they had to be reburied someplace else.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I know that the coroner mentioned a certified death certificate. I would recommend also that we get a copy of the certificate of the appointment for the personal representative so that we've got some measure of authority as to why this person had the ability and the authority to bury the other person. And that if they've got a probate open, they should have that certificate. It doesn't cost them anything, and so it should be easy to obtain.
I think the only issue with that is not everybody goes through probate with court.
And
with
they
their-
don't necessarily have to continue with, they can still get the certificate of appointment and end the probate right there. And
Okay.
probate ultimately ends, they close the file anyway. That's a good point there, Connor. So I would just recommend that for the county's position, for our liability side, that we at least try to get that document.
And I think what we're going with is almost like the authorization of cremation. All the next of kins have to sign the authorization of cremation before a cremation can be done. That way, they're not being cremated and the son that they haven't talked to 40 years comes back and sues the county or the funeral home because he didn't want that, he or she did not want that done.
Don't want to put too much burden on the people, but we need to get it, make sure we're covered. So I totally agree.
What about if there's joint ownership of that land?
I don't think we've discussed that.
Does everyone
yet.
have to okay it, or?
I would say so. If there's joint ownership, I think all parties should be in
All parties should have to
agreement.
sign off on it.
And I mean, if we need to include that into the ordinance, I mean, we certainly can move forward with the motion tonight, but I would say, when you make the motion, that you make it that we add that point in and the other point about personal representative.
And one more question, is it a time limit when notification has to be done to you or Katie's office when they decide to do this?
Well, I think we had talked about, as far as a time limit of getting them buried, they could do it immediately, but after they get that death certificate, they have to go to Katie's office and make sure that it's documented.
Sure. Okay,
Because the
thank
one
you.
incident that we were talking about, we got the report as a coroner's office that Saturday morning, and by 5 o'clock Saturday evening, when the funeral home called me and asked me why they hadn't been called yet, and then we had to do some figuring out. It had come to fruition that they decided to bury the person on their land, which is totally fine, but
But
if
but
we
you
had-
had to get called out, didn't you? You had to get called out to pronounce them dead, didn't you?
it was a hospice-related
okay.
death, so, I
Okay,
mean,
I
we
got
did
it.
everything over the phone.
Sure.
However, we were told one thing, the funeral home was told one thing, and then the family decided to do something else, so we wanted to make sure we kind of knew where they were going and what they
Okay.
were doing before we released anything.
Thank you.
Ms. Neese, can I
Yes.
ask you a question?
Sure.
What is a burial removal
Transit permit?
transit? Yeah.
So the state of South Carolina we have to, almost like, think of it as your golden ticket per se. So when someone passes away, the coroner's office or the hospital, whenever it's reported, you get a burial removal transit. And that ticket goes with the decedent everywhere they go. And that's actually how they start the death certificate process. So you have to have a BR, and there's a specific number for that each permit.
Okay.
So you have to have that number and even start a death certificate process.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because that kind of confused us a little bit. We were
Yeah,
wondering why we were
it sounded
removing
like we were
somebody.
moving people around.
It's kind of, if funeral homes don't have that number, they can't remove a decedent from a hospital, from a facility, from a home.
Okay.
You have to have that number in order, or that permit in order to even do a removal.
Do they get that from you or DHEC?
Yeah,
or-
they will get it from us,
Okay.
yes. Now, if it's over 24 hours in the hospital, they get it from the hospital.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So will a grave on a property have to have a marker?
I think that would kind of be up to the family.
That would be up to the family. That's really where the survey and deed comes
Yeah,
in.
as long as it's recorded on the plat, you don't have to have a headstone or anything like that, but you have to have it recorded on the official plat.
I think that would kind of start putting a lot of restrictions and, you have to do this on your land, your property, and I'm not sure how that would be received, but.
Any other questions?
I would have had something.
Just
Go ahead, Todd.
super quick. I'm in complete agreement with this. I know some of those that exist now and their issues. And so I think you've covered most of mine. I didn't want to exceed what some cemeteries do, and so we don't require a vault. And I do agree that it should be recorded on the deed, because once they're buried, trying to remove that and change that is a nightmare. So the only question I really had was about the permit. Should we, instead of saying you could do it the same day, should we require a permit from the county before you did that? Because once they're buried, whether they did it legally or not, there's really the process of exhuming comes into play. And once that comes into play, you've got to notify family members and get court orders and all, and get consent and court orders and all that. So should we require the permit up front?
Well, yeah, absolutely, we would. The death certificates have to be completed and signed within 48 hours of case designation and submitted to the South Carolina Department of Public Health, Office of Vital Records, but I absolutely think the permit would have to be received from us prior to that body going into the ground. My opinion.
Okay.
Here's what you
I'm
want
just
into.
making sure that's in there, because undoing
Somebody dies on a
that
Friday.
is,
The offices are closed. I would
That's
think
true.
you'd have like 72 hours or something like that, up to a
Well,
certain
that's,
amount
I
of
think that's
time.
where you have the BRT, the burial removal that permit documents where, what
It follows.
address
Okay.
they're at.
Yep, I got
It
you.
and-
it
okay.
follows the,
Because
I'm good
the
with
way
that.
it has the name, date, the time of death, the place of death, who will be signing the death certificate, and then the burial, what funeral home they're going to go to, or if they're going to remain at their home. We document all that in that BRT.
Yep, okay, got it.
yeah, because the office might be closed on Friday and they
Yeah,
just
if you
can't
have
get
some,
it, so,
if you have somebody at 6
Yep.
o'clock on Friday night, you're not going to be able to get that documented.
which is
through
what that form that you're talking about
That's
would
right.
cover it,
Yes,
up
Yeah.
until they could get the permit.
correct.
I
yeah,
agree.
I'd like to do a little more on that. And I completely agree, Madam Coroner, and I'm with you. I think this is wise. I just like to make sure, because once you do that, you change the land use forever, basically. And so I just want to make sure, I don't mind if they have to wait till Monday to get a permit to do that, because you're changing something for the forever, basically,
Right.
because land doesn't go away.
As long as the permit is attained.
Yes.
Any other
Now,
questions?
are you talking about getting a physical permit from the zoning office in order to
I'll let y'all work out the details on that. I don't have heartburn either way. I'll let y'all work out the details on that, but I think there needs to be some sort of process so that we understand what we're doing if we allow somebody to bury somebody on the property, which I think we should, because that's their property. But we're changing the land use for basically forever. Like you said, the Civil War, burial site. There's a home in Whitmire now where the kitchen window looks out over the gravesite, and there's nothing you can do about that because the family members are so scattered you could never get permission again. So I don't have a problem with slowing that process down and doing that. So whatever y'all decide as far as administration, I'm going to be okay with. But I do think there needs to be a process there.
And to tag on to Mr. Johnson's point, what if the individual doesn't get a permit? What if they don't, you discover it later? Are there penalties? Are there any ramifications?
There's state law, coroner state law, that you cannot, there's fines, and there could be up to legal fees and actually incarceration
Okay.
in jail for removing or burying a body without the coroner's permission.
Can we reference that in this ordinance?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
just so there's a tie back.
I understand what you're saying. Someone
Yeah.
passes at home that's not on hospice, that's not and they
Right.
just.
Permit too,
Yeah, we'll just
and the permit too.
bury dad here.
I understand what you're saying, and yes, that is a possibility that could happen, so we'll definitely reference that state statute.
Okay, great.
Get that message to Todd's in the lobby.
Do you have anything else, Corey?
I do not. I didn't know if there's anything else.
Thank you.
Again, part of my tardiness and
Sorry, I dropped-
misunderstanding. I appreciate it.
That's all right. That's all right.
At least you're not having a remote in. I'm sorry, and I'm not questioning this. I'm in complete agreement with it. I just want us to tie it up so that
Yep.
the more ambiguous something is, the more it leaves room for something to happen.
Totally concur. Totally concur. Any other questions? All right, hearing none. Item 6 is executive session, discussion of matters related to Project Pearl Dust pursuant to South Carolina Code of Law, Section 30-4-70A5. Do I have a motion that we go into executive session? Motion by Councilman Smith, second by Councilman Scurry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes, rest assured, this is not related to a data center.
All right. It is unanimous. We will go into executive session in approximately 5 minutes. Actions, no action was taken. We do want the public to know that Project Pearl Dust is an international company that plans to locate part of their light manufacturing to South Carolina. They are looking to an existing building in Newberry County. This project is a good opportunity, but will not qualify for much in the way of incentives as the predicted investment less than 2.5 million. It is projected to create 15 jobs, will offer above average wages. The company founder executive has made a visit to the county. This in no way affects our moratorium. Has nothing to do with that. So just wanted everyone to know that. Do I have a motion that we come out of executive session? Got a motion by Councilman Smith, second by Vice Chairman Cease. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Vice Chair, second by Councilman Reader. All in favor? It is unanimous. We are adjourned for 5 minutes.
All right,
All right, it is 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the regular Newberry County Council meeting to order. And I'll have the invocation and the pledge. Please rise. And everyone, if you would, please silence your cell phones as well. Sorry, Andrew. Bow your heads. Dear God, please look after us as we do Newberry County's business. Help us to do the right things for our citizens. Be with everybody in Newberry as they're having hard times. Be with Councilman Smith and his family at the loss of his mother-in-law, Miss Jane. She was a great lady in our community. Look after us all. Help us make the right decision, what's best in your eyes, Lord. And it's your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 3 on our agenda is adoption of minutes, and we'll take A and B as one if I hear no objection. Hearing none. Item A, Newberry County Council Work Session Minutes, July 15th, 2026. Newberry County Council Minutes, July 15th, 2026. Do I have a motion to accept?
Go ahead.
Motion by Councilman Scurry, second by Councilman Reader. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. And let me back up just for a second. Councilman Fulmer wanted to apologize to the citizens of Newberry County for not being able to attend the meeting tonight. He had back surgery on Monday and is not mobile enough to attend. He thanks you for your understanding. Wanted that to go on record. All right. Item 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve as presented? Motion by Councilman Scurry, second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Item 5, proclamations and resolutions. We have none. Item 6, administrator's report, project updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Council. Last meeting, I gave a pretty lengthy update on all the CPST projects and everything that was going on. Since that last meeting, there's not really been much that came from that. But I do have 3 items. The first one is I just want to remind everything that early voting for the late Senator Graham's Senate position started today and will continue until Friday. The special primary will be on next Tuesday, August 11th. If a runoff is needed, early voting for the special primary runoff would begin August 19th through the 21st. So just wanted to remind about that. If people want to get out and early vote for that position, they can do so beginning today until Friday.
Okay.
We did meet yesterday with the Central Midlands Council of Government staff regarding the update to the COGS long-term transportation plan. Jason Taylor with the city, myself, and others met with the COGS staff to discuss really what are known transportation issues throughout Newberry County. I do want to stipulate that this does not include road resurfacing. This is more of intersection improvements, pedestrian type improvements that need to be done, but does not include road resurfacing type projects. We did let them know that we have the Safe Streets for All process and action plan underway at the same time, and so we're linking our engineering firm up with the COGS engineering firm to ensure that the projects that Safe Streets for All have identified can get into the COGS transportation plan as well. So once they finish up with the long-term transportation plan, these projects will be ranked in a priority order and will then become eligible for future funding based on the priority ranking that they receive. The Newberry County Accommodations Tax Advisory Board is now accepting application for tourism-related purposes and promotional-related purposes for the accommodations tax allocations. The applications must be submitted by this Friday. The Accommodations Tax Board will meet on August 13th to review the applications and make recommendations to council. Our goal is to bring this to the next council meeting. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Hearing none. Item 7, Chairman's comments. Again, I'd like to give our condolences to Mr. Smith and his wife and on the loss of Ms. Ringer. Keep Mr. Fulmer in your prayers for a speedy recovery, and everybody else in the community who is going through hard times. Keep them in our prayers. Item 8, public hearings. A, ordinance 07012026 to provide for the issuance and sale of a general obligation bond not exceeding $650,000 principal amount, to provide for the payment of 2014 installment purchase revenue bond and 2026 lease purchase. Do we have a motion for ordinance? Tyler Johnson. I will declare the public hearing open. Mr. Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson, 693 Henderson Court, Newberry, South Carolina. The only thing, it just hasn't been mentioned yet. I was wondering if this paid us off on that 2014, and that was just for clarification on that, because it seemed like when reading the agenda packet, it insinuated this was kind of like a yearly installment thing, so I was wondering where we sat on the overall for that, because it hadn't been mentioned. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That's everyone signed up for the public hearings. I will declare the public hearing now closed. Do I have a motion on the ordinance? I am.
No.
We gotta do
Number
that.
9.
Pardon me. Thank you, Andrew. Item 9, public comments regarding the items on the agenda. None, okay. Item 10, old business. Item A, second reading, ordinance 07012026, to provide for the issuance and sale of a general obligation bond not exceeding $650,000 principal amount, to provide for the payment of 2014 installment purchase revenue bond and 2026 lease purchase. Do I have a motion this be second reading? Motion by Vice Chairman, second by Councilman Reader. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Item 11, new business. Item A, resolution 042026, declaring the intention of Newberry County to reimburse itself for certain expenditures related to the 2026-2027 lease purchase. Do I have a motion for the resolution? Accept the resolution? Motion by Councilman Reader. Second by Councilman Scurry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Item B, first reading on ordinance 08012026, authorizing the execution of an equipment lease purchase agreement in the amount not exceeding $2,475,000 for the purchase of 1 fire truck, 2 ambulances, 1 dump truck, 1 trailer, and 1 patching machine. Do I have a motion to accept ordinance? Motion by Vice Chair, second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
That is unanimous. Item C, first reading on ordinance 08022026, amending the text of Newberry County Code of Ordinance relating to single site burials. Do I have a motion to accept this first reading? Vice Chairman Cease, second by Councilman Reader.
If we can pull that motion back and redo
We
the
do need
motion
to
with the
amendments.
please.
Yes.
So if you'd withdraw your second and withdraw your motion, and then start again.
Withdrawn our second, withdrawn the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Winters?
Well, if you would just renew the motion.
Well, if you would just renew the motion.
Okay, that's weird.
Okay.
No, it is. If you could renew the motion to include the amendments, one, I think we've got them, the certificate of appointment for the personal representative, the reference to state law for the penalties for not following the ordinance, and I think that was it.
All right. Do I have a motion to accept with the amendments added?
Make that motion.
All right. Second by Councilman Reader. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. All right, item D, a consideration and approval of a bid for the downtown Newberry Amphitheater and Pavilion 2022 CPST RFP 2026-11. Ms. Walter.
Yes, we solicited bids for the downtown Newberry Amphitheater and Pavilion, which is part of the CPST project from the 2022 ballot. We received 3 bids, and the low bid came in at $4,069,180, and we do recommend that council accepts the low bid as well as alternate 1 in the amount of $231,000. Alternate 1 includes a bar, a kitchen, and a storage room, part of the old Jacobs building in the back. And that brings the total bid to be $4,300,180. Let me go ahead and answer any questions.
And all will be covered with the CPST.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Councilman Scurry, second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like the record to note that we talked about this in our work session and that this is the lowest bid, and accommodations are being made for the second alternate as much as possible.
Duly noted. All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Item 12, County Council may take action on matters discussed during executive session during the 5 p.m. meeting. No action was taken. Item 13, appointments. Newberry County Memorial Hospital Board, District 5.
Yes, I have one. I'd like to appoint Lynn Moeller for that position.
A motion to appoint Lynn Moeller to the hospital board. Do I have a second? Second by Vice Chair. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Item B, Upper Savannah Workforce Development Board.
I have one, Jesse Long to support us in the Upper Savannah Work Development Board, since we haven't been represented, since our representative goes to the Central Midlands COG. And we're split, so we need somebody to serve on, go to those meetings and serve on that board.
Got a motion from Ms. Jessie Long to fill that position. Got a second by Councilman Reader. Any discussion? All in favor? Councilman Johnson?
Sorry, yes.
It is unanimous. All right. Item 14, do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Scurry. Second by Councilman Reader. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
It is unanimous. We are adjourned.